I'm going bald.
Really?
I think men...
Bullied, clowned and laughed at for going bald.
I didn't go to Turkey.
Well, maybe you should have. Like, it is really...
Which leads your confidence and your self-esteem to slowly drop. It leads you eventually to getting cosmetic surgery in the form of a hair transplant, and you go through all of that only for the bullying and clowning on your hair loss to continue.
There's no hiding that obviously it's been losing over a number of years. And yes, I do get a lot of comments about it.
Well, that's exactly what the popular YouTuber Theo Baker has experienced.
At what point do you just go bald?
Now, actually getting laughed at for going bald, or just the fear of it maybe happening, is a big concern for a lot of lads when they start losing their hair. Now, Theo Baker is a popular and very successful UK YouTuber who mainly operates in the football kind of niche. He does a lot of crossovers, and he really first came on the scene after appearing in a lot of Joe Weller videos. He is another UK YouTuber. He started his own channel 9 years ago, and you can see this is kind of where the hair started. But if we focus in a little bit more on Theo Baker's hair, we'll go all the way back to 2013. This is the kind of hairline Theo Baker was rocking. You can see it wasn't that long after this that the hairline did start to go, and he says himself that he started losing his hair or noticing it in his early 20s.
Haircut, I now had a haircut, looking fresh, I'm not. Okay, anyways.
Couldn't find a lot on him talking about using various treatments, a few clips talking about caffeine shampoos.
It's not embarrassing, it's just normal.
It's not embarrassing. The Alpecin shampoo.
No, I don't use it anymore because it didn't really do anything, but I used to use it.
One thing I've got to give this guy a lot of credit for is he doesn't really make a big attempt to hide this. He really does just kind of rock it. No epic sort of really obvious comb overs, no mega obvious hat wearing, pretty much just rocks what he's got. However, maybe coinciding with popularity on YouTube, being in the limelight more, maybe it was more and more of these digs coming through that were starting to get to him. He decides he's had enough and he's going to get it done.
We've secured the bag, I'm getting a hair transplant.
It was offered to him, you can hardly blame him for going for it. However, some hair loss YouTubers did show concerns about him doing this.
Theo Baker, what the f are you doing? That he's going to be getting a hair transplant. Of course, I looked into the clinic, and that's when I started hearing the alarms.
You can see that he already has super fine hair. I'm not really sure what the expectations were going into this hair transplant, but here he is talking about his experience with the procedure itself.
Day 2 of recovery, and I seem to be sleeping like so long. I go to bed at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I stay up late.
He also documented his progress about 6 months after the hair transplant surgery here, and here was some of his thoughts.
Honestly, looking back at it over the last 6 months, this is the best thing I have ever done. I am so happy.
You can see there is a visual change in the hair. It also looks like he's maybe dyed it. I don't have anything to base that on other than looking at the colour of his hair afterwards, which maybe makes it look a little bit thicker. I really have no idea because his hair was super white before, and here it's almost like got a brown tinge to it. And you'll see coming in a moment, a few years on after the hair transplant, how it's looking now.
Oh, so you did actually go bald quite young then?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
I did it like 23. Like, it's going to last the rest of your life. Right now, mine's a bit worse, but it'll get better. Like, it goes through stages. Maybe I'll go back and get some more at some point.
This clip here, 2 years, I think, after the hair transplant surgery, looking at the dates here and kind of how he's describing it, shows that perhaps his knowledge on the subject isn't quite up to par, I would say, because I'm pretty sure after a year of your hair transplant, you know how it's going to look, how thick it's going to look, and all the rest of it. It was hard to find clips on him reflecting about how the hair transplant went years afterwards, but we can look here at more recent clips of him to see how the hair is looking, and I'll let you be the judge whether you think this was a really great procedure, whether it made much difference or not, all the rest of it. Good thing is, he does seem pretty content with it. Yes, he's talked about maybe going back for more. One thing it didn't change is him getting absolutely clowned.
Can we just say how successful his Turkey trip has been? Joe, yeah, said that. Sorry, Theo, but like it's really impressive.
I didn't go to Turkey.
Well, maybe you should have.
Which shows the kind of perception from people around him.
Newcomers, Theo Baker.
Yes! Oh, too much hair there.
And there's a lot of clips like these online.
Oh, another knock at the door. Let's see who it is. I've heard it's Theo and it's raining, so let's just walk really slowly. Actually, no, it's harsh. His hair will get wet.
So even after going through all of that, he's still getting absolutely clowned from the people around him over his balding and hair transplant situation.
It's actually mental that having the chance to dress up, Theo hasn't gone with a wig.
And I thought this was just a good example to kind of bring up this topic that is getting clowned for being bald or getting trolled for going bald, things like that, right?
Cheer up. Yeah, he's about to go to war. Unless it's in Turkey and he can get a hair transplant while he's there.
Well, you get one new haircut and you come with hair, Jones, honestly, seriously.
As I mentioned at the start of this video, it's something that a lot of guys are quite fearful of.
Buon Natale.
That's getting old very fast. He's getting old very fast, am I right?
When they start losing their hair, right? You're like, I don't want to be the guy who's getting super clowned all the time over going bald.
And then for you, we've gone for someone who you remind me of in multiple ways.
Balding Wayne Rooney?
I'm going bold. I'm going bold.
Clearly.
I think men.
And it's something that comes up in the media quite often.
Real hair-raising stuff at times, unless of course you're Alan Shearer and Danny Murphy.
Every few years or so, they have this debate.
Would you have complained about what Gary Lineker said? I mean, if you could, you know, if you wanted to, would you complain about it?
I wouldn't complain about it. I mean, nowadays, things are different.
And I'd be very, very interested to know your thoughts as well.
I lost a lot of confidence. I went through hell.
Ian Wright and Danny Murphy are here to comb over the highlights.
It was just a play on words.
Yeah.
You were offended by it, though. And Aldo, I've known you for years, and I thought you were bigger than that.
You know, this whole thing of banter and taking digs at each other, it is a big part of how men especially interact with each other.
All three have had their hands on this trophy, Rio and Stephen in Moscow and Istanbul respectively, and Ian, when he walked into the studio this evening...
I just should have said when I walked into the studio and grabbed the back of your head.
Of course, there's deeper psychology involved often, you know, projecting. There's all of that stuff going on here, okay?
I have to say, JT was looking okay, but Carrie, your top was horrendous. A bit like your hair, man. Hey, let's not get talking.
But it is just a big part of how guys interact with each other. If people think they're going to get a rise out of you, right? If they can tell it's something you're insecure about, you know, and obviously if you're doing things to try and hide that or cover that up, then it shows that there's a pain point there. So people will kind of aim for that to see what reaction or what rise they can get from you. If you really want to know my thoughts on this, I think, in all honesty, once you develop true self-confidence, once you develop true self-worth, right, and you really know, like, mate, I don't feel insecure about that at all, so you do your thing there. It really, in my opinion, that's the best way of disarming this whole using hair loss or balding against you. Because in all honesty, when it's not a thing, it isn't a thing. I'd love to know your thoughts, guys. This is always an interesting topic to bake. To bake?
I'll probably munch the living daylights out of your little tart.
To debate. And I will see you in that next video. Goodbye.
This is quite ironic, but when I had the shaved head and when it was growing back in the early stages, I sort of quite liked it.